product innovation is not exclusive to tech products. In fact, in today's video, I want to showcase and dissect this innovative company that has truly revolutionized, in a very simple way, actually, a massive, massive market. And it's the cereal market. So, this is a Shopify store called Magic Spoon. And we're going to dissect their product landing pages, their offers, some of the secret advertorials that they've been running, some pre-landers that most people probably don't even know about. So we're going to get into some high level strategy, but also some basic product and market research. I also want to look at their ads with you and a few additional things that you'll really like. So first and foremost, Magic Spoon is a brilliant company and they are valued at over $420 million. And this was back in 2022. So it's possible that this has gone up to, 500 million and above. 420, that's kind of a funny valuation, but it's no joke at the same time. That's a huge valuation. And if we think about how big this market actually is, this is something I mention often, but it's these simple markets that oftentimes are massive, right? Everybody always thinks of the most innovative things to launch, but in reality, sometimes small innovations can come from these very traditional markets like the cereal market. What they've done is they've added protein to their product. They've made it healthier, just added less sugar than the competitors out there. And of course, created a sort of vibe that goes for the adult kid, which is kind of an interesting persona. But that's one of the first lessons that we can take away is they have a very clear target demographic. They are not targeting kids. They are actually targeting adults that still like these products, that still consume these traditional kid products like cereal. Now, the reason I got put onto this brand, I've actually known about them for a very long time, but I recently posted on my X profile, which you should definitely follow. It's just Ari's Notebook. I posted this ad that I saw from them that I thought was absolutely brilliant. And this is actually one of their newest products too. So that's another lesson, is you don't have to just stay in one product category. You can add additional products, launch new products to your store that still can help first of all, fit your brand very well, but that can also help introduce your brand to new people, right? Because of course, people who like these bars are probably going to like cereal as well, and vice versa. So that's a very easy way to not only increase the lifetime value of your customer by offering them new products, but it's also a brilliant way to get more market penetration and just get more people involved in your brand. But right here, this headline is so brilliant. Your childhood cereal bar is all grown up. So again, we know exactly who they're targeting with this, right? It's the adults that have the nostalgia of, to me, this reminds me of a Chewy bar. I don't know if you ever had those. I certainly did, and they were amazing. And by the way, I did find this ad in our trending statics tab in the Shopilab Discord. It's a pretty cool server. It's an accelerator. So let's take a look at some of their best sellers. Their best seller here is most likely this treat variety. Oh, actually, this is their new product. So let's look at this one, 25,000 reviews. So we'll analyze their landing page. Of course, these guys have a massive retail presence. If you go to any Target or Walmart, you'll find them there. But with that said, they are still driving a significant amount of traffic to their Shopify store, over 300,000 monthly visitors. I guess on average, it's something like 260,000. And they're getting traffic from all over the world. So from the US, from Canada, even from India, from Italy. Funny enough, 2.8% of their Shopify traffic is coming from Italy, which is pretty interesting. And they are on a little bit of a downward trend right now, but that's nothing to be concerned about. I did do a deep dive and crawl their whole entire store. And I want to show you some of the pages that they're actually running traffic to, which I thought was a simple but very clever strategy. First and foremost, though, let's break down this lander. So as you see, they got this, variety pack, and you can buy multiple quantities of it. So if you wanted to, you could buy 2 variety packs if you really like these. And as you see, you just choose your flavor. They have a lot of flavors. They have 0 sugar and a lot of protein, a decent amount of protein compared to any other cereal. So this is basically a viable sort of meal, right? Or not meal, but I guess just a good treat that you can have that's still nutritious as opposed to most cereals out there. and they have a ton of reviews. Now, interestingly enough, I feel like they should have even more bundles, right? But I'm sure maybe they do that separately. Yeah. So for example, let's look at the cocoa here. This one is probably pretty good, and you can buy one-time purchase, or you can actually subscribe. So you can actually subscribe to this, which is pretty interesting. And their landing pages are actually very simple. Let's look at the last one because that's the best seller. You can see they just talk about the benefits of the product with this really beautiful animation of just, a spoon going around this bowl. High protein, gluten-free, grain-free, keto-friendly, zero sugar, natural flavors, no cane sugar, corn syrup, or sugar alcohol. So these are the ingredients right here. And then how do we stack up to other classics? So it's pretty interesting, right? Even despite them having like this really strong branding image, all of these Shopify stores follow the same exact process, right? Which is to have a little bit of a description here and the above the fold with all your benefits, some bullet point benefits, so people can understand everything they need to know just from the above the fold section right here, right? And then some more benefits of the product, maybe some cool image that just kind of entices you, ingredients or, let's say features of your product, and then us versus them. So very clean table that they have here. This is a very traditional thing to have on your store. You can add this section on basically any Shopify store very simply, and a lot of themes actually include this too. And then just from some reviews, right? And then frequently asked questions. I mean, of course, this builds trust right here. And then this does objection handling for people that may have some objections. Very clever stuff. Super simple though. Again, very traditional layout, nothing too fancy. Now, let me show you one of the pages that they're running traffic to. So this is one of the advertorials that I found. And one of the interesting things is that they are actually creating individual pages for every single influencer or creator guest that they are collaborating with, at least the bigger ones. Of course, maybe it's not for every single one, but you see right here, right? Literally every single creator gets their own page where, welcome fans of Amy Landino, healthy cereal tastes too good to be true. So let's actually take a look at what this looks like on mobile because, this isn't updated. This must be an old thing that they did. I would be shocked if they were still driving traffic to these kind of pages. But yeah, it doesn't look good on mobile. This kind of is hard to read on desktop. It's these little details that they're definitely missing, unfortunately. And although this looks cool, it's just not super practical to shop on. So they're doing this for every single creator that they work with. As you see, this one is A Slob Comes Clean podcast. And then they also have this Amazon variety pack that they're driving traffic to, which is kind of interesting as well. And you see same table that they have in the other pages, same layout, all very, very similar. So nothing too crazy. They're not really getting too insane or innovative when it comes to their Shopify store, just besides maybe the branding and the fact that you can subscribe to the product, which is really nice, actually. I think that's a great feature. Now, they're not running a ton of ads. So now we can move on to some of their ads. They're actually not running a ton of ads, only 22 different meta ads, which is a little bit surprising. My guess is because they're finding it hard to make ads profitable on their Shopify store. That may not be true. They may say that they don't need to run ads, and that could be true as well. But that's my best guess. And my guess is that because their average order value here is pretty low, right? They don't have really a good way to incentivize you to buy a lot more. I mean, I guess they do have now some more upsells, which is great. That's actually really good. So, maybe they just need to do a little bit of a better effort when it comes to the ads that they're running. But let's actually analyze some of them, some of the recent ones that they've been running, and let me see where they're actually running that traffic to. So a 13, Miss Cereal Spring 13. So this is kind of like an advertorial, a pre-lander. So let's see, shop now. And then it takes us to the next page. And here you can build your own pack. So yeah, this is super cool. I like this. But again, at the same time, this is kind of like a lot of stuff, right? It's not super impulse worthy. So this is kind of a lot of work, right? You got to kind of build your own. It's not that much work, but people are very lazy. So I could see this not performing that great. And that may be one of the reasons why they're not able to scale their Meta ads too well. But again, this is all speculation, unfortunately. I don't talk to the Magic Spoon cereal team. Although I do run ads with my agency team. One of the businesses that I own is this media buying agency. We run Meta, Google, TikTok, all the machine learning based paid ads platforms. And we work with a lot of pretty big brands. So we do see a lot of the best practices. But unfortunately, I do not know what these guys are doing very in detail, but we can see what they're doing. So let's actually see some of their ads just to see if we can find any golden nuggets.
I ordered some like gift for Christmas for Magic Spoon, so I saw this box.
Okay, so this is a
tree.
minute 45 seconds. That's kind of long and not super engaging. Sorry, I just don't really have, I don't want to waste your time. But yeah, that's kind of a long video.
Magic Spoon.
Let's see this one. Magic Spoon is just that good.
With so many
different flavors to choose from. Okay, that's pretty good. But yeah, none of these are, let's see.
Check out the newest flavors.
So these are all actually aimed at like middle of the funnel or bottom of the funnel. So it's like new product alerts, new flavors. So it's just all aimed at people that already know about the brand. So again, that kind of shows me that they're having a little bit of a tough time scaling cold traffic with Meta ads.
How many grams of
Let's see.
protein?
Can employees guess the grams of protein here?
How many grams?
Oh, I like these videos. I like when people make these, office kind of videos.
Protein in this?
How many grams? Oh gosh. 17.
Yeah, see, these would actually probably work well with cold traffic because it's like a clever way to showcase the product, right, and introduce people to the brand. Let's see where they're driving these to. So yeah, a classic favorites 2024. So let's see, shop protein cereal. Well, let's just look at the super fast, keto friendly, magically tasty, cheaper than a protein bar, tastes like you remember. And again, just I want to point this out to you because it's so important and so underlooked in the direct-to-consumer space, but really just any brand, right? Because even at our agency, we run ads for software companies and even some lead gen companies, service-based businesses. So I see this everywhere, right? And this translates to basically every business that advertises on these platforms is understanding who your target customer is, right? And making everything congruent towards that avatar. There's really easy ways to do that now, especially with AI, right? We use Gemini a lot. We use Claude a lot. ChatGPT, of course, we use it a lot too. We use all of the different large language models out there for different reasons, but still, it's a good idea to use every single one of them because it's almost like having different minds, different geniuses, right, in your team that you can ask things to or ask for feedback on. But let's see. Yeah, these ads are pretty good. And as you see, they have all these, hashtags, which is kind of interesting. My guess is they're just boosting these ads, right? They're just boosting these posts from their Instagram as ads, which is actually a smart thing to do. They're not getting a ton of views on their organic posts, but they're definitely trying. So yeah, something is missing from their paid ad side of thing. And I personally, just my intuition tells me it has something to do with their website. Although it's like cool, it's also just not too intuitive. And this is just my opinion, right? I could be totally wrong. And maybe you love this website, right? Maybe I'm just not the target demographic here. But to me, it's just not super clean to shop on. So another interesting thing about them is their comments. So I use the smartreply.io free comment analysis tool. This is a common tool that I use in these breakdowns, and it's free. And it allows us to get a really good idea of what people love about the brand and what people don't like about the brand. And also, funny enough, it shows us how much they're replying to comments, which unfortunately, their reply rate is not that great. They're only replying to 33% of comments. But the good news is, and this is actually quite rare, if you watch a lot of my videos, you'll understand what I'm about to say, but they have a 75% positive comment rate. So most, and only 7% negative. Almost all of their comments are positive, which is really cool, actually. That's really interesting to see. And one of the other interesting things to see is that really when people do say negative things, it's only two things. One, it's too expensive, or two, the portion sizes are too small. That's pretty much it. So those are good problems to have. I mean, of course, it'd be great if they could lower prices, if they could offer bigger portion sizes, but those aren't very critical things. Those things don't make the product bad. So that's good. Now, the positive things, one of the things I see a lot is people saying, I'm trying your products and so far my blood sugar doesn't spike. It's legit diabetic friendly. This is an amazing comment right here. I'm very surprised to see that none of these videos that I see here even say anything related to that, right? So that's pretty interesting. This is a huge pain point that people experience, and therefore they should totally be diving extremely deep into this angle right here. They should be doing pre-landers around this angle. They should be doing quiz funnels around this angle, right? They should be creating very engaging meta ads or even TikTok ads as well related to this, because this is obviously something that people deal with on a daily basis that's like very painful, and they have a huge desire to, not have to deal with this. So I just love that. That's why I love this tool, right? Just to find these little golden nuggets. And it's just interesting. Even this $420 million brand can get value from this, right? And another thing is, you certainly should install some sort of AI agent to reply to every single one of your comments and create engagement, right? Like basically what I call it is maximizing customer touch points or comment touch points, because this creates almost like a new traffic source, right? It's agentic traffic, and you should be doing all the traffic sources that you can: organic, agentic, which is still organic, but we can call it that just to kind of make it more specific, paid ads, email marketing, right? Owned traffic. All of those things are amazing. And of course they also have retail, so they're doing it all. I personally see this brand going towards the $1 billion mark, but I do think that they need to fix some things. Obviously there's definitely some bottlenecks here. However, they're doing a great job altogether, and their product is pretty cool. I think it's a great idea for a product, and again, people truly love it. People actually do think it's a great product. So that's like amazing. If you can actually make a great product, then you're a great business, right? Or not necessarily actually, but that's a really good criteria for having a great business, at least. So there's not much more to say about the brand, but I think this was a good dissection. Of course, if you wanted to start a similar brand like this, it may be a bit difficult, but I don't think it would be that difficult. I mean, the beginning would be very difficult. Of course, e-commerce is just a difficult business. Let's not sugarcoat it. But in terms of growth, right, I think there's a lot of potential in this market, of course. And I do think the hardest part is probably just nailing a great product. And there's a lot of competition, of course, too. But these guys just chose a very interesting angle. They very much narrowed down on a target demographic and avatar, which is millennials, adults that still like to consume, that have this nostalgic vibe with these kind of products. And it's working. I mean, it's working quite well. But of course, there's a lot of different suggestions here. I would love to talk to the Magic Spoon team. We can run your ads for pretty cheap. I would do it just because your brand is so cool. And I do think this angle in particular is just so powerful. Like you could do so well with this angle. I think it's just a really good value proposition, and clearly it's really helping some people a lot. So really dialing that in, like making a lot of ads related to that, I think would be very powerful. Pretty interesting how much you can learn from your own comments, right? Or from other people's comments. I always find that interesting. So that's about it for this brand. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Make sure you follow me on X if you're watching this on X, on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.